Good afternoon from where we sit here in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. I'd like to welcome you to Creative Minds Television, KMTV. We are everywhere. That's why we are right here on the weekends edition of the program, the Diaspora Talk here on KMTV, where we bring you the voices, discuss the issues affecting Liberia and our diaspora Liberian community. Wherever you find yourself, I'd like to say welcome. Share the show, invite others to join in here on this Friday is the 26th day of April 2024. And we will take our team when we come back. We go directly into the program here this afternoon. Don't go away.
When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
what is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
in fact, the United Party is not cohesive. Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call some numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com.
Diaspora Talk. Don't miss out.
And I tell you, don't miss our Diaspora Talk every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on KMTV. We are everywhere. That's why we are here on this 26th day of April 2024. Indeed, I'd like to say welcome back. Share the show, invite others. My colleague Nathan Charles is here with me on this edition. Nathan, welcome. It's Friday. It's good to have you.
It's a pleasure to always be back here to share our ideas, thoughts on issues in and around Liberia.
And I know you've been browsing the different issues on the start of the weekend. Let's just jump into it. There are a lot happening in Liberia days after the Supreme Court ruling in the 10U cases. President Bouaka moved to suspend board chairs and members of both the LTA, that's the Liberia Telecommunications Authority, and the Governance Commission. NEC declares Ian Twine as winner of the just ended senatorial by-elections there in Nimba. He's going to be replacing former Senator 9 Vice President Jeremiah Kwankun. The Muslim community in Magibi County out there, disenchanted over the fact that President Bouaka is now appointing members of the Muslim community to their local government in Magibi. Other issues we will be discussing. Nathan, let's hear you. What are those?
And I tell you, opposition Star Wars like Akara's Grade, Sekou Kalasco, and the rest are celebrating the Supreme Court order against Joseph Iman Bouaka. General Grade termed it as a legal bloody nose for
legal bloody nose
for the Joseph Iman leadership. Kalasco will be speaking as well on the replacement and this suspension of LTA boss. And the question is, why always LTA?
and why always? That's a big question indeed. We hope we can have some answers to that because it's looming. Yeah.
And as well, Sylvester Grisby is in the news for all the bad reasons. Senators are knocking at his door. They want investigation into his involvement with the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, NASCO. Some funds and money was spent on vehicles there. They want question why he had involvement. Amara Conan, Dillon, and others are on his back. As you know, County Mead is gearing up. Lofa, Nema, they are heading to Monrovia for a great encounter.
The quarterfinals. Maybe if we have the time to get Nathaniel, probably he can fill us in with some of the things surrounding the quarterfinal stage of the National County Sports Meet. And there is this big event coming up next month. Liberians and Barbadians will be, on this huge ceremony in Barbados, the island nation. We hope to talk to Ambassador Lorenzo next week on this. He's one of those who behind
What
it.
his name?
Ambassador
Next.
Lorenzo Witherspoon, is it?
Oh,
He's the head, former ambassador to South Africa, retired now. He's organizing that. We hope to talk to him sometimes next week, probably Monday. But it's going to be a huge gathering in the Barbados there on the island. Liberians from all over the world, Africans, they have this huge connection to Liberia. We understand.
Is there a free ticket?
you have to tell us about all of that.
The way Liberia want to travel it.
They want to travel like crazy. Yeah. So there are a lot of things, but let's kick it off with this entire Supreme Court ruling that was welcome. We listened to the Minister of Information yesterday. He said the government welcomes the ruling. The executive mansion had a release out. The president welcomed the ruling. But then just 48 hours after this, Nathan, we're seeing these suspensions out there. We understand the GSC already been asked to institute an audit of the Liberia Telecommunication Authority, and I think the Governance Commission. And these were two areas where the Supreme Court felt the appointment by President Boakai of a commissioners to those commissions were not in conformity with the laws, on grounds that those people still had their tenure positions. There were years left, I think 2 years or more at some of them. But on the other hand, the case of former EPA's boss, Prof. Wilson Tappe, was trashed by the Supreme Court. So that is like a draw gain for both the government and Wilson Tappe, on grounds that Wilson was not hired by President Weah through the right procedure. So I think he's going to be let go. But these other people, the Supreme Court urged the Boakai's administration to resound its decision, that is reconsider in having those people, remain in their tenure position. But we are seeing this in 48 hours. The executive mansion is out with this. What is it like for all of this whole battle surrounding the tenure positions? That's the biggest question right now on the lips of Liberians at home and here in the diaspora.
So many ways to kill a cat. I would say that that's why the Joseph Human Boakai leadership is using. They one hand claim that this is a government of unity, and the other hand they are painting a picture of corruption, some level of corruption, a syndicate happening at the LTA. So that's why they have called for audit, because audit is not a witch hunt. But when somebody you feel has a deep root to a high level of corruption, then you want to paint that picture. So, in the code of public opinion, it's important because the image you put out there, right, what's on social media and stuff like that, people brand people to be corrupt and stuff like that. So I think that's why the Joseph Human Boakai leadership now is trying to portray the belief in the eyes. Okay, great. One second they say we uphold the rule of law, but another they come back with another thing. That's why a couple of people have been saying it is just difficult to fight the hands that feed you. And once the top, your boss or your bosses are not in approval of what you do, you can do your best to what it will still be tainted. Within Liberia, there are so many ways people go with it, and this is the term Joseph Boakai is going. They don't want the guys to work for at this area from the LT and other areas. They don't want. As you see the release, moment after, the same group of people, individual who they appointed, that the Supreme Court asked them not to give them the office. They appointed them as acting. The same thing happened with Mirabro. Mirabro was acting for a couple of times.
Yeah. And when she was in that situation with how she handled the city corporation and moving out, beating people in the street, but I'm still felt that she could not get probably the blessing of the legislature to kind of have her confirm as city mayor. At some point, she was, acting for a long time. I don't know what is the same strategy that the Boakai's team is using. That's a huge question indeed.
Yeah, because the Supreme Court don't have the power to say, it's investigation. As well, that investigation will last for 10 days where the recommendation will come in. So based after the recommendation now, then those who are being investigated, they will know as to whether, because they will have the time to exonerate themselves through the audit, because with auditor will have to invite them for questioning. Look, we see this receipt, we see this spending, what was it involved for? Do you follow the process and stuff like that? So if they can clear themselves all, then that's a good thing. But I know that's a tactic. Everyone would do that. And again, somebody was saying, why will you keep fighting? I know people fight for the right, but in government, meaning in Liberia, it is crazy. Because this is where budget pass. This is where people trust you, meaning with the LT and other institution. Once the government is not in favor of you, government is deadly. Sometimes they use different weapons to hit people. So maybe, okay, we can get you at this sense we violated the law and it's a bloody nose according to Akara's gray in the face. We will find another means to, dent your character or your reputation. And that's bad for Liberia. We hope that the Joseph Yuma Boka do not go that turn, but I know they are not in favor of those guys who are from the George Weah leadership. Mind you, these are lucrative positions.
and I think the tactics of suspension by President Bwaka was something President Weah used with the same LTA then Chairman Alvin Brown. According that was in 2020 when he was suspended by the president, and we never saw his return. He still stays suspended until Edwina Zakpa was appointed as head of LTA. We also saw in that's 2009. In May of 2009, Madam Salif also asked the entire board of the LTA to tender in their resignation, what she termed as failure contributing to a budgetary shortfall in of the 2008-2009 budget. So with this whole thing of LTA, a lot of people think that there's a lot that LTA has to deal with, the entire telecommunication regulatory arm of government, with all of this happening. Why are people so much, after this particular area as lucrative?
Well, as you know, the telecommunication industry is growing. More people are getting connected via internet, telephone, satellite, and stuff like that. So indeed, that's where sensitive information are also gathered. That's what sensitive information are also gathered, because you can track anybody, online and stuff like that. So you don't play with these LTA and the regulates the internet, the communication angle. It brings in a lot of revenue. So the LTA, the maritime, the free port, these are RIA, these are lucrative area that most institutional government use to pass money to benefit themselves.
And now let's look at the process. President Bwaka moved in first, probably. People will say maybe with anger to kind of suppress these tenure position holders in the first number of how you call it, nomination or appointments. These names pop up. LTA was on the radar heavily, and it went to court, got out of court. Now he's using this. People wondering whether the team of the president, the legal arm of the president's team, is following the laws or advising the right way. Now you have to go back and do it another way. Seems that people say, witch hunt.
There is something called common sense. It's just common sense, Cyrus. It's like you cannot take your enemy, political enemy, and keep them within, because these are more confidential areas. They're looking at numbers, they're looking at meetings, they're looking at data, they're looking at a lot of other things. So it is just just common sense. It's just like taking somebody who you don't know like that and exposing all of your secrets to them. And, it's difficult, and the person is in attachment with the opposition. It's hard.
Then it brings to mind, the need for those positions to be squashed, the tenure be squashed of those positions, because the way as it has been from the Salif's time up to now is more like everybody wants to have people they can work with in those positions.
I think they need amendment, because people have different way. Every time when laws are made, that's why people do amendment of law, because new things happen.
New things.
And the law that was made 10, 15 years, it cannot be compared right now to now. Things change. And so we hope that they will try to amend that law and put in more stronger measures.
And the lawmakers themselves, I believe, who passed those laws protecting those institutions will have a lot of work to do, because every time, if for instance the Supreme Court has said you can let them go and pay them off, government will have been spending millions, to have those people paid off, because they hire for a period of time, and people should be questioned based on what they do, even though they are in tenure positions, but there are laws that they should abide by. And I think the broadcast team is using mostly this issue of corruption or semblance of corruption at these institutions to kind of have them out. So let's bring you this asset by, like you said, from ruling party officials or that are now opposition leaders or opposition voices are seeing these actions by the broadcast administration as witch hunting. And one of those who've been talking about it is Sekou Kalasco. As you know, he was presidential aide to President Weah. Let's take an excerpt here.
Routine comportment from former President Weah. This is something that we normally do. He did not just do it when he was the president. He did it when he started playing soccer. He has been somebody that believes in giving everybody a level of freedom, especially in terms of worship. So when he became president, he just amplified it because he took steps that were unprecedented in our country history, especially creating that level of equilibrium between a religious group. You have civil servant that was being dismissed from their very working places a few days ago. You have, through the acquiescence of Mr. Boakai, workers at the Ministry of State that was dismissed upon the order of Mr. Boakai. We think, given all of these circumstances, putting all of these facts together, it is a calculated attempt by Mr. Boakai and his team to continuously witch hunt Liberians that had the opportunity to work under former President George Weah's leadership. And we think, as we thought, as a man that was professed to have worked in government for over 40 plus years with this experience, and owing to his age factor, we have brought something new, new dynamics to the leadership of the country. But on the contrary, Mr. Boakai comes with no new idea. All he believes in and his crew is to continuously come after Liberians that had a privilege to work with former President Weah. And this is worrisome. Walking in the street, you listen to Liberians. The common people, common Liberians, clearly understand that this is a calculated attempt by Mr. Boakai and his team to derate whatever that we have gained for the last 6 plus 12 years under former President Salif and former President George Weah, that thought it wise to put Liberia on a pedestal that will not make us to go back.
I mean, what do you say to, the president's decision? When you read the letter you mentioned, the president said they are suspending the LT authorities in order to do an investigation audit of how public resources has been going to the LT has been spent through the GSA.
First of all, how can you suspend a group of people without even calling them for hearing? At least before you suspend them, it should be established that, yeah, I'm suspending you based on XYZ. Hear from them. But day before yesterday, the Supreme Court came up with a ruling. The Supreme Court said your nomination that was done at these various entities, they are illegal. So you should go back and withdraw this nomination. First of all, Mr. Boakai failed to withdraw the nominations. He did not withdraw this nomination. And in a violation from a court that we are supposed to respect, the same people that the court said Mr. Boakai should withdraw are the same people he's appointing now to serve as interim leaders of these places that the Supreme Court passed judgment on. Who's supposed to be the biggest respecter of the law? It's the president of the country. But if the president of the country is in a flagrant violation of the law of the country, is it not worrisome? It is worrisome, because he the one supposed to be that standard bearer. He bear the greatest standard of the country. So everybody will follow him as an example. But if he is the one that will be violating the law of the country, then what the common people will do? And this is the manifestation of Mr. Boakai being incapacitated. I've always said that clearly, that Mr. Boakai is incapacitated to lead this country based on the judgment that he has rendered since he became president.
Sekou Kalasco Damario right there. He's one of the voices that is speaking out against the action by President Joseph Newman Boakai as it relates to the tenure positions. And later he said it clearly that the president did not, adhere to the Supreme Court request, that is to, withdraw those nominations. But in other, those people are now acting. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, but the thing was, dismissing, I think Sekou missed the point, dismissing or replacing these people. Acting, anyone can act, and it's not a official duty. You can act until investigation. But I think the Supreme Court did not say, do not put Patrick Honor. They said, no, do not replace. It is illegal. They did not call names to say, oh, you do not report this person, that person, that where he says the same people. No, they did not say the same people. They did not reference anyone's name. They just said that the position should not be overturned. They should maintain the people who was there from the George Weah regime. I seen a post here from Randa W from the CDC. He wrote, the country is in serious trouble. And he said, it is not because we were wrong. It is because it was not them. Now, this what they are, a caravan of vindictive character and ordinary crooks that have grouped to squander opportunities and bankrupt the country. The state is overheating. A redemptive water is needed. A redemptive water is needed immediately with zero precondition. CREB cannot donate blood. That's from Ronald W. there.
And Ronald W. was a former deputy there at the EPA.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he was also appointed to with inconformity with the laws, but we will have all of these things happening. One of those who've been writing on this entire tenure thing is former presidential candidate of the president of Liberia, journalist Julius Kanuba. Julius joining us. He is joining us. Julius, if you can just unmute yourself. I don't know why your camera has that dark shadow over there, but are you hearing us, Julius?
Yes, I am obviously getting you loud and clear.
It's good to be having you live with us. It's been a minute, man. What tell us you're joining us from Monrovia?
Yes, certainly. I'm joining you from Monrovia. Yes, it's been a while, although I've been speaking with Charles. I think he and I had one conversation the other time. Yeah.
Yes, it's good to have you. And we saw that you're one of those who've been writing on this entire thing since the inception of the Boakai's administration, about 100 days almost. We've seen all these rigmaroles over who is appointed where and all of that. You weighed in the other day. You want to firstly, run through that, and then we can have some national discussion on other issues as well.
Well, first, thank you for the opportunity to form part of the conversation at this particular time. I know you're doing an incredible job of disseminating information and holding political power or business power accountable. Just a slight point of clarification: we are not a formal candidate. I mean, we will remain in the process. We've been a long-running dispute, and very soon, hopefully, we shall have a legal determination into our case of membership and the registration fraud at the PUL and lack of accountability, to which we've been in the struggle since November, October 2022. With respect to your conversation, yes, I did write a piece, I think 2 days ago, with the title Judicial Powers and the Limits of Presidential Powers in Liberia. That was in the wake of the Supreme Court's rulings to overturn the decision of the president to nominate officials or people at different agencies and commissions that have got tenured positions or tenure at these entities. And so the Supreme Court ruling was consequential in the sense that it overturned the mandate of the president in terms of his presidential power. The Supreme Court was not challenging the authority of the president to appoint, but the Supreme Court was only telling the president that in order to dismiss, remove, or appoint new people at those particular agencies, you have to follow due process or follow the administrative steps that are laid down in the various acts creating those agencies, because those commissions or agencies are created as a result of legislative actions backed by presidential powers that has got to
And
sign.
we are getting some breakthrough there, Liberia and the internet issue. Julius, are you hearing us?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah,
Are you getting me?
we had a little breaking from you.
Oh,
The
sorry.
internet.
Yeah. Sorry for that. No, like I was saying, I mean, the Supreme Court made a consequential ruling in all of the cases, and it was significant in the sense that it overturned presidential power, it constrained presidential power, it informed presidential power to follow the various steps in order to ensure that these individuals who are occupying tenured position, they are given the due process that is required instead of just arbitrarily removing them.
So now we're in the midst of that. Why all of that was going on? Mixed reactions from the public, whether it was from the opposition, the imposition, you, the no positions. This another turn that things are taking. Suspensions. What will you make of this? It's like the broadcast team took a step back and coming back with another discussion. The suspension of these chairpersons and board members of meaning the LTA and the governance commission.
Well, it was not strange to have these people in the debate about tenure and presidential power to be suspended. If you read the statements by the executive mansion by the presidency on yesterday, it was clear that something was in the making. In fact, the president in that particular statement welcomed the rulings of the Supreme Court. But Cyrus and Nathan, in the last paragraph, it says the president pointed out that the rulings of the Supreme Court also set a significant benchmark for administrative actions and the procedures leading thereto. That benchmark, President Boka says, will have significant implications for all government agencies in the country as a whole. So that particular last paragraph, it indicated to us that something was in the making by the executive, by the presidency, to have these officials who gain their rights at the level of the Supreme Court somehow removed. And the president has exercised another power to have these officials suspended for term indefinite, pending investigations in some cases. And I think this is a serious decision by the president. In as much the president says he respects the ruling of the Supreme Court, but he's now using the very ruling of the Supreme Court because, I mean, the Supreme Court informed the president that if you want to take action, you have to follow the different steps. And the president says, okay, these are administrative and procedural steps I need to follow. So yes, the president has got the power to exercise such the decision, but again, the expediency, the timeliness, is it really timely? Is it really expedient at this particular level? because the president is fighting to remove these people from their respective positions, and the people just got a significant victory, which is a landmark case under the Walker administration. But all of a sudden, these people are suspended, effective immediately. Again, the president is exercising his political power. I don't believe that the president is incapacitated, as one of your guests was saying. An incapacitated president, will not be suspending people. He has the capacity. The president listens to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court say he should follow due process. So the president is aware of some of these steps. And so I feel sorry for those who have been suspended with big allegation. And again, this is very serious, especially where the president said they've been able to re-report from some of these agencies, and that the issue of financial malpractices, administrative malpractices are beclouding these entities and the individuals who have been suspended in most instances. So yes, the president has got the authority, the constitution provision, especially Article 54, if I'm correct. Mandates the president to appoint. And like Nathan was saying, the president is not disrespecting the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court said you have to stop your appointment of these people to tenured position in terms of them occupying this position as tenured officials. So the president has changed it around to say some of these people who were removed, I will appoint people I will nominate people who will be IT in the position. And like some people have been posting, President Weah, for example, he did the same thing with the very LTA, with the very EPA. So we normally say that governance is path dependent, path dependency, in the sense that what happened in the past, people learn from it, and then they are most likely to repeat some of the things that happened in the past. Again, some people have been able to show that President Sirleaf also took a similar action. George Weah also took a similar action, and President Walker is taking a similar action. So it seems there is nothing strange, nothing new. It's just like we have to be serious in terms of governance. We don't have to target people unnecessarily because they differ with us in terms of our politics. The Constitution is very clear, right? Every Liberian has a right to employment. And so when politicians win power, and people who campaign against these politicians, sometimes they lose their job. But in a society that should be inclusive, these people must be given the chance to demonstrate their skill sets in terms of helping the country to transform. If they engage in acts that contravene their position or their authority, then you can take action. But again, I think some of these officers at the different agencies who have been affected, if I were the one that got such a significant victory at the level of the Supreme Court, and I know I did campaign against Boka, the best thing would have been just take your resignation.
Take a walk away.
Yeah, take a walk away. Because you see, Eugene Nangbe, for example, I've not been able to read the Maritime Act to see whether it's true or false. He did resign his position, and some people say it was a tenure position or no tenure position, but he sent a significant message that I campaigned against Ambassador Boka. I supported him in the last elections, but in 2023, I'm against him. And he was the campaign manager of the George Weah campaign team. As soon, the time was reaching, Eugene Nangbe tendered in his resignation, one sentence, right? And he left. So there's no noise behind him until he's audited. His term at the Maritime and the Bureau or Authority is investigated and audited. But Eugene is living his quiet life. So some of these officials, especially if you know that you don't have the trust, the belief in Ambassador Boka to be president of the republic, it's not possible to serve under somebody that you don't trust.
Don't trust.
Yeah, you just have to leave. If for the politics of politics, where you say, "Oh, I was only campaigning because I wanted to maintain my job under the Weah administration, but I do trust in President Boka," that is a different thing.
It's different.
But again, we have an all-powerful presidency in Liberia that we call an imperial presidency, because the president can appoint a lot of people at any time, can dismiss these people at any time. If, for example, they take the president or the presidency to court, if they win their cases, there are other tools or mechanisms or technologies of power that the president can use. And we've just seen it. I mean, within a tingle of an hour, while the people were celebrating, I mean, their victory at the Supreme Court. Now they are
Another
in.
another term was used to get them out. And
Yes, I mean,
that's
very.
that's that's a huge one indeed. But let's bring in Nathan.
Mr. Kanumba, thanks for always joining us. You wrote a piece, and I just wanted to quote some of your wordings. And you said Liberia, a country with a system of imperial presidency, underpinned by an all-powerful president, patronage, sycophancy, and disregard for established process. Do you see that under the Joseph Boakai leadership, the other way they have turned?
Well, the decision of the president to have these officials removed without due process, as the Supreme Court found, was ultra virus. It was in contravention of the very acts that created these different agencies. An imperial presidency in the context of Liberia, as I defined, is a presidency that is characterized by this sort of a patronage. For example, huge appointment powers of the president, lack of check and accountability. Of course, the Supreme Court was checking the power of the president, but again, the president has used another instrument, and you see people defending the president. I mean, when these officials were being removed initially, people were defending the president. I mean, in as much we do say, for example, if somebody commits a crime, you're on the scene, you saw this particular person committing the crime on the scene, this person will have to be proven guilty by law. You can't just say the man killed somebody, right? So the imperial presidents, I mean, look at the number of people the president has got authority to appoint. Why is it that we can't elect our city mayor or county superintendents, local officials? So almost everybody in the next elections, as long as the unity party performs, or as long as the unity party is still maintaining Walker, most of these people will support the president because he's in power, because the president has given them a job. Nixon and Cyrus, just look at the appointments. I mean, only a few number of people, perhaps these were some of the people who were supporting the unity party on cover, who were given jobs. But most of the people, or a number of appointments, or several appointments, were done on the basis of the support or the partisanship, in the unity party. And so this is a system of imperial, presidency that we have in our country. The issue of sycophancy, obviously, and all of us we do know that in Liberia, sycophancy is significant. In fact, we've been involved in the presidential politics to the extent that some people from, other political party or one political party were saying, "Oh, some of us we are radicals, we are critical." They don't want a stronger president. They want a president that will be in the pockets of their political institution. To the extent that some of these people were calling journalists in town here because they were the ruling party or the ruling government at the time. They did not want a critical in the media. But some of them, they can be very surprised when the very government when the very people who were in opposition that they were challenging and thinking that we're supporting some of the opposition, and we are very critical of this in opposition. They said, "But what is happening? This guy, we thought this guy was, biased. But for us in life, you have to be impartial, be honest, and perform with integrity." So yes, we have a system of imperial presidency within our country, and it will take time to remove some of these tendencies or practices of imperial presidency within our country.
And that's a tough one indeed, because from the look of things, this is something that we're going to see happening. Like you put it, if probably the next election you did not support whoever wins, just get to know that there will be the same thing that will be repeated. But then what can we say is the importance of keeping tenure on these positions when in fact these ways will be used to get people out, because probably they need people who they can politically align with in these positions?
Well, the Constitution is always an instrument that they use to govern society, to prohibit certain actions and to enable certain actions, right? And so the Liberia, a post-conflict society, is attempting to develop itself. And so Liberia has been learning from other countries in terms of the appointments of people in tenure position to ensure job security, the first thing, to ensure that they do the best thing to the, to the best of their ability in the best interest of the public interest. But again, some of these people have turned into politicians themselves. And some of these agencies or commissions, there are specific provisions that you must not engage in such massive or visible political support to politicians, because we expect you to be impartial, to perform in line with ethics, right? And if you're violating some of these ethics or professional standards, obviously you have to be the subject of public discussion or public actions or sanctions. And so the salience or significance of tenure is being reduced in Liberia now. The immediate Georgia administration was trying to de-tenurize these different positions at these different agencies of government. But again, that was taken back because the public reacted very strongly. And some of the people, in fact, went back to the very Supreme Court. And so perhaps the issue of job security, the issue of performance, related, the issue of integrity within the public sector, because you don't want to appoint people that have the credibility, the impartiality, and then the president, because they are serving at the will and pleasure of the president, they are removed. So, I mean, I agree with you. If we are using this sort of a technology of power and bypassing different channels or using different, instruments to remove these people, despite the fact that they have a tenure, then it raises concern. In fact, if the president has said that he has been, reviewing reports of these agencies, when did they commission these reports, and how were the reports done? How were they reviewed? And to suspend somebody on the basis of accusation is something again that we have to look at. Just after they've won a case at the Supreme Court, the timeliness, I mean, it raises a lot of questions about the issue of being vindictive, not being happy with the Supreme Court ruling, despite saying that you respect the ruling, because you can respect the ruling of the Supreme Court, but you're not obviously happy with the Supreme Court ruling, and you have to take certain actions at certain time. And so, yes, I mean, the issue of tenure, we will have to reflect very critically as a society whether, in fact, we need this tenure position and how people can be removed. I am deeply excited by the fact the president has been able to establish, in terms of the structural human capacity at the ombudsman, the office of the ombudsman, for example. These are the individuals, or this is the entity now that will be responsible to investigate issue of ethics. So, for example, we saw during the elections, people were wearing political party paraphernalia. I mean, it's a right constitutionally, but if you agree to occupy, for example, a position in government, and they say this is a tenure position, who pay you good money, you're performing well, but yet because you have your right to express and you say you want to be a politician at that particular level during the elections, you have to obviously leave your position. Because in South Africa, in the United States, in other countries, if you are in a tenure position, you don't behave political. As soon people get to know that you're political, I mean, it undermines your position, it undermines your authority. And we've seen that at different government agencies. So I hope the colleagues that have been appointed at the level of the office of the ombudsman will be able to perform in line with ethical standards. And Cyrus, I mean, when we look at the cases at the level of the government, we compare it to the President of Liberia, the issue of ethics, where we've been trying to push accountability, enforcement of different mechanisms to ensure integrity within the media is critical. I mean, we have a similar case. Because some people would like to violate the constitution, the rules, the norms, the established conventions or principles. And so we hope President Walker will govern inclusively to ensure that the country is stable. Because without inclusion within society, the likelihood of conflict can be huge.
Yes, and that's a huge one indeed. And the issue of inclusion, like people are already crying that out of all of the appointments we've seen in senior level or mid-level government positions, we have not seen a key, opposition leader or member of the opposition being appointed by President Boyka. But we're still looking out there to see what's going to happen. And the tenure thing, the ombudsman office that you spoke of, we believe that this will be the gatekeeping for government officials that are appointed, because the laws does not only talk about tenure, it talks about people appointed by the president, people on boards and all of that. And we just saw over the weekend in Nimba what happened. Huge drove of government officials were over there campaigning for the Unity Party candidate in Nimba County. So it's like, if you are talking about it speaking someone's eyes, you should also look at the logs in yours. So that's a huge one indeed. But Julius, will hold you right there. We will take this very quick break and come back. The Muslim community in Magibi County also crying that they've not yet been included in the local government structure of their county, especially those who said they supported the Joseph Yuma Boyka and Jeremiah Kuhn candidacy. We will bring you this except from their press briefing this morning, and then when we come back, we'll talk about other issues as well on the lips of Liberians. Don't go away.
Thank you. I want to thank the Muslim community, our women, student community, for leaving their busy schedule, and this is the call to Allah. The press statement read: Assembly of Muslim Congregation, Magibi County, Imam Council here present, Head of Women Organization, Islamic schools, religious stakeholders, sympathizers, Head of churches and Christian community, Magibi County Authority, Magibi County Legislative Caucus, the media, allies, Liberian marketing associations, traditional chiefs, elder councils, motorcyclists, petty traders, ladies and gentlemen, once and all, who present you greetings. The religious community of Liberia is considered kings makers of state and non-state actors. During each electoral period in Liberia, the religious sector and its largest constituent body participate in the campaign to strengthen democracy and elect leaders to state power with an aspiration of inclusion of its stakeholders both in national and local government to form part of the national decision-making processes. On the contrary, precisely in Magibi County, there is no single Muslim stakeholders who have excelled to occupy appointment positions in any sector of the local government when they are equally qualified with the skill competency to work. Kindly read on the executive mansion the recent publication of Magibi County local officials, which we have been waiting for as a Muslim, dated April 23, 2024. First of all, we'd like to thank the President of Liberia for appointing Reverend Sibo E. Bangawo as the mayor of Kakata City and others. Reverend Sibo is a single out because he's a religious leader and the head of the Liberian full gospel who have come with vast experience and practical understanding of the city ordinance. We equally believe in his ability, capacity, and policy to lead. Congratulations to them all who were appointed. This petition statement is intended to holistically draw the attention of His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boyka and his appointment committee to include qualified Muslims in Magibi County and beyond, especially Muslims who campaign with them, especially Muslims among us who has master degree, especially Muslims among us who have PhD, especially Muslims among us who has engineer degree, especially Muslims among us who have gone to study out of this country. Just look at the students who are left from other schools around here. Support. But when we win, there's no Muslim in the government of Magibi County when it comes to governance. How our school will be built? How Medina school will be built? How Azaru will be built? How this school then will be here will be built when we don't have one single person in the governance to speak for the Muslims, say this Muslim school here, this other one here, this other one here. We are speaking compared to it. So Magibi County compared to Bomi, Cape Man, Bapulu, and Lofa, etc., etc., all of these counties, your check. There must be a Muslim in the hierarchy decision making where president can appoint. social media, they are saying I'm not religious tolerant. Okay, so I can only be religious tolerant when I dress, I can pay, when I will suffer, they are religious tolerant. When it comes to governance, we not qualify. So that only you qualify. Sibo, a reverend in Magibi County have been appointed. They have took that reverend from the church. And today, he is in the pulpit, he is in the city collecting debt. That reverend went to collect debt.
And I tell you, indeed, that's a member, head of the Muslim community there in Magibi County. He's Vani Kroma. Judas, like you were talking about the issue of appointment. This is coming just this morning there from Magibi. Muslims are there complaining. They've not been included. Where are we heading to?
Well, I think it's a problematic statement by that particular individual who was talking about appointment on the basis of religion. I mean, it's not proper. I would like to emphasize he must be able to emphasize the position, the qualification, the skills of people without necessarily linking them to a specific religious sect, for example. Because Article 18 of the Constitution of Liberia, it says all Liberian citizens have or shall have equal opportunity for work and employment regardless of sex, creed, religion, ethnic background, place of origin, or political affiliation, and all shall be entitled to equal pay for equal work. So the Constitution does not say that if somebody wins the presidency or if a specific religious group campaigns for a candidate, that particular religious group must be appointed or must be given leadership roles in the various counties of our country. I think what they should be able to emphasize is the issue of the competency of the community. I know, yes, they are a minority group within the society, but you not expect every Muslim in Liberia, 12% of the population, to be included massively in the government. In fact, the Boka administration not to be seen as somebody who is pushing into the administration, but I think you've got significant people who are of the Muslim background who are in government. Key roles they are playing. So are you telling us that, for example, every county, we should have one tribe from the county occupying position in the country? It's not possible. The government is a small government. I agree that there's a need for inclusion, but in inclusion, we have to be careful not to use these sort of different social categories like Muslim and when you start to use such a category, then people will say, but there are different Muslims in Liberia, right? And there are different, level of religion. So the Baha people will come and say, oh, but we are in Montserrat County or we are in Magibi. Why is it that Boka has not been able to appoint us? And the people who don't believe in God, the atheists too will say we want to have position in the government. So the Constitution does not allow that. What the Constitution allows for all Liberians, right? So these people who have been appointed, are they Liberians? And if they are Liberians, let them go and serve. But if we start to put religion as a basis for appointment in government, I think we are proceeding on tribal or on ethnic or on ethno-linguistic land. And if you start to do that, the society will not tend to prosper. Because again, like we've been saying, the government can be inclusive various ways. In fact, if you say that we should appoint somebody from a specific religion background, is there a consensus in Magibi County for one Muslim to be appointed? Even if you appoint one Muslim from within the Muslim community, other Muslims will say, but why is it that you appointed this particular individual and not the other individual? So I believe the issue of competencies, the issue of skill sets, the issue of experiences, the issue of integrity should be emphasized, but not a specific community advancing their own ideology in terms of just appointing people in local government
on their religion.
Yes. I know the government would need to be inclusive, and I know that in different counties, in different spheres of life, people can play different roles. And sometimes us who are in the country, we just need to realize that every one of us can get employed within the government. And if the religious community of Manjibi County, especially those from the Muslim background, feel they can play different roles in society, they have to play, not necessarily in government. And this applies to almost all religious groups. In fact, what is the Muslim population in Maghibli County? What does it constitute? Is it half Muslim, half Christian, or half or 40% of Muslims? I'm not too certain. So we have to be careful. I mean, the local government positions are limited. It must be inclusive, but on the basis of the skills that people have, the integrity of the system, right? Rather than bringing a sort of a religious tag. Because if you start to do it, you develop a culture where every government would like to appoint people on the basis of religion.
Their religious affiliation.
Yeah.
Let's hear you weigh in on this.
I do not want to waste my breath. I consider his statement a statement of incitement. It lacks logic. His argument is weak. And these are kind of people that need to lobby. If you have issue, you need to create a consensus base and meet those in authority. Like Julius said, quoting article, the Constitution, looking at his utterance, I think it's petty. His point is not genuine. He said at one point they have master degree. Who told you it's only master degree, doctor degree comes with appointment? There are a lot of factors to look at. So he needs to go back and really understand about local government, talking about how they will build school. You think if they appoint local government will build school. Representation, that's why you have representatives, you have senators. So you could have built your consensus and put in the person of choice you call in. That will person will put money to help put money into your budget to lobby for schools and other stuff. So if you appoint county superintendent, you think the county superintendent can jump up because the Muslim and build more? These are petty things. I don't want to waste my breath on it. We need to focus on more serious thing for Liberia because these are statements of incitement.
So finally,
sorry, just before you come in, I'd like to emphasize the point. I mean, where he was saying during the campaign, yes, they were campaigning as Muslims, but now to a point, they're not appointing them as Muslims. I think that's not too good. I mean, don't campaign on the basis of your religion. Campaign on the basis of the competencies that you think people have, to serve. I mean, there was a situation in the press union Liberia, for instance, like we've been contesting. Somebody posted in one of the private chat rooms, that, oh yes, let's vote for our brother because he's from our country. In as much this person knows that the brother has problem. So people ask him, say, my man, the way how you saying this, so you're from minority ethnic group in our country. So if we want to bring ethnicity in the politics of the president, regional, I mean, you are totally out because in the future people say, but you preach this particular message and you're from minority ethnic group that is highly debated in Liberia in terms of your roles. So we beg you, this is a professional grouping. Let's focus on the professionalism of the media, the professionalism of those who are contesting. Let's look at them. Who are they? But if we start to say this is all, somebody from this country, somebody from the religion group, somebody from the other tribe, the president can never ever progress. And it applies to Liberia, right? You don't appoint people on the basis of their religion or the basis of their tribe. That's why we say in government, in as much you have your political parties, you have your partisans. When you win elections to govern the country according to basic principles and standards of accountability, of integrity. You don't just bring the partisans. I mean, there should be merit system within the government to ensure that people deliver the results to the people. So the Muslims in Maghibli, I'm not sure those who have been appointed would not care for the Muslims, right? I'm not sure they will not be able to tolerate the Muslims in Maghibli County. In fact, Maghibli County has been one of the most stable counties in terms of religious tolerance. Right? We're now looking at Lofa or Nimba or maybe perhaps in Bon County in a little bit. But in Maghibli, you have a strong religion presence, but I mean people have been living freely. Maghibli is a heterogeneous community like Montserrat. No one will just come and say, oh yeah, because we're from this particular ethnic group, so please, or the particular religious group, please appoint us because we campaign for you. I mean, look at the different government agencies and ministries, the number of people that got appointed, right? Look at their ethnicity. If you want to do ethnic analysis, That's why we're not happy with Amara Kone when he started to say the cabinet should be divided on the basis of county, one minister from one county. Yes, I read the Executive Act of, I think, 1972. It did say something like that. But this is a modern Liberia. The practices of 1972 will be
Does
different
not
from
apply to the practices of today.
yeah.
So on that note, let's touch on this final discussion point. Yan Twine of Nimba County claiming 59.27% of the vote from Tuesday, earning him the senatorial seat, replacing former Senator Jeremiah Kwanko, now vice president. We know the huddle battle in the Nimba election, the issue of Prince Johnson, the factors all that play. What can you say about all of this? Is it that it's showing the Prince Johnson losing grip of Nimba with the fact that on the final days he did not stand up with the ruling Unity Party in supporting Yantwine?
Well, Prince Johnson has got a strong grip on Nimba County because since he started to contest elections in Liberia, he has not lost. He has supported some candidates, different candidates in Nimba County. They won, some have lost. So you can say he's losing ground in Nimba County. Just imagine Prince Johnson contested in 2023, he won massively against the very Yan that you're talking about, right? So yes, Yan came second, I think, in the 2023 elections, and since the political godfather of Nimba County was not in the race, obviously, Yan was a favorite of the people because he has somehow been able to build himself as somebody who can be able to help to provide leadership in Nimba County at the level of the legislature, specifically the Senate. And what Yan also did when he lost the elections against Prince Johnson, he was one of the first persons that went to Prince Johnson, paid his respect, congratulated Prince Johnson. That's a sign of a Democrat, and that's a sign of somebody who really be able to gain some level of support in the future without or with the support of Prince Johnson. Don't forget, Yan and Prince Johnson, they supported Ambassador Joseph Walker for the presidency. And Nimba massively voted for Ambassador Walker, right? And so Nimba will have to live up to the expectations of supporting Walker so that the Walker administration can succeed. Because the vice presidency is with Nimba, right? In as much we say, yes, the vice president got votes across the country, but he got massive votes from his county of origin or from where he calls his origin. So this is significant. So there are different factors that might have played in Nimba County, especially with the issue of Prince Johnson, the issue of Joe Walker, the issue of the vice president. Don't forget, Jeremiah Poon is somebody who has won elections bigly in Nimba County. And he's from another political party of Prince Johnson. Again, they are supporting or they are in the Unity Party alliance. So Nimbayans might have thought that yes, we respect the decision of our political leader, our political liberator, Prince Johnson, but we have to support the administration of our son, Jeremiah Kumu, because if the Unity Party fails, the people of Nimba, like all of us Liberians, will be held responsible for putting an irresponsible group of people in power. So yes, Yan was a favorite in the by-elections, and I hope we are hoping that he can be able to bring new form of leadership at the level of the Senate to collaborate, cooperate, and be very constructive in terms of his contributions to governance within our society. So we congratulate him. He's a relatively young guy or young fellow. I know he was with the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, NASCOR. That is, again, another center of investigation as it relates to this issue of the inauguration and expenditure. Because we heard from the Senate, in the last few hours, that some $500,000 was given to the senior advisor to the president-elect then, the current Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Sylvester Grisby, to purchase vehicles for guests that were coming, to grace the occasion of the inauguration of the president-elect. And so this investigation will proceed. The situation at NASCO will have to be thoroughly investigated because, like Amara Kone was saying yesterday, some of these slash funds, funds that are meant for miscellaneous, they can be abused and misused. So we hope Yang can be able to perform at the level of the Senate. We hope he can be able to help Nimba County to become a vibrant county and to help Liberia in terms of improving governance for the betterment of the country, especially the citizens of the country. He must be able to perform the roles and responsibilities that are expected of our legislator. Saros, you and I will work together, covered, the legislature, the politics, obviously. Yes, Prince Johnson is a significant factor in Nimba. He remains a significant factor, but sometimes the citizens will have to make their independent choice, despite the fact that they respect the decision.
Prince Johnson.
Yes, the decision of the head of the Prince Johnson not to support Yan Tuan. But again, Prince Johnson is a public figure. He changes a lot. Who knows? Because again, he was not in the county campaigning against Yan. But what he did say publicly was that he was afraid because Yan from the Unity Party may most likely vote for the establishment of a war crimes code in Liberia. In fact, the very Prince Johnson in the end voted. So he campaigned that he was not going to support Yan. But then he voted for the war crimes code, and the Unity Party is pushing for a war crimes code.
He signed. He did sign the resolution as well.
Yes, so there was no problem for him to go again and say that he would not support Yan. And what Prince Johnson did, if it is true, on social media, to take to social media to comment, congratulate Yan, that they work together. They must not divide Nimba on the basis of tribalism, like we're speaking about religion. They must be able to work to improve the living standards of the people of Nimba and the people of Liberia in general. It's a significant statement. And Saros, as a student, meaning an analyst of democracy, Liberia is democratizing. It takes time for democracy to institutionalize fully or to consolidate, right? Because democratic consolidation can take a generation. And we have not gone 25 years in the practice of democracy. So it will take time. Even this issue of tenure and the removal, using presidential power, it will take time for us to find some level of stability in terms of pushing good governance practices within society. So I hope we can continue to learn because democracy is always a learning process. Like the United States, where you people are living good life, enjoying yourselves.
We also paid our dues as well.
You have President Donald Trump. You have President Donald Trump, who is undergoing trial, and this has been an unprecedented case in the United States, despite the fact that the United States developed an advanced society and advanced democracy. So people will always learn from the democratic practices.
And we're getting worries that suspended officials at LTA are refusing to leave the LTA. So that's another thing that is breaking as we speak. Julius, we're seeing some live feed from over there at the LTA, so where suspended officials are said to be refusing to leave the LTA. These are things that we were just talking about that wouldn't be a very good thing for Liberia going into everything that is taking place. Kanuba.
Well, they will just have to follow the rule of law, respect our constituted authority. If
Councillor Dixon,
and we're seeing a feed there with Councillor Filter at Dixon. We see police officers there on the corner. So as you can see, those are police officers there. Julius, this seems to be it gets into a different level as we are watching from the compounds of the LTA, as you can see live on your screens there. We'll keep our eyes out to see what's going on and what's going to be unfolding. But I think that's just a scene there from the LTA.
Well, it's very sad to see such a development, right? But the president's letter the president's press statement said the suspension is with immediate effect or effectively immediately. And so if I were in such a position, I would just go to the office as quick as possible to have my things removed. Or if that cannot be done, what will happen is that I use the HR, for example, the human resource and the manager, to have my personal effects or belongings taken from the building. But I mean, they might have overlooked or thought that the victory at the Supreme Court was an end to this particular development. But it was not the end. I mean, the
Let's
next day,
see whether we can get some of the audio from Phil Tappet.
Now we have come to that. Yes, in the answer of this documentation, things should not be handed over, but should be placed where they belong, which is in the offices of the LTA. Of course, if you have anything for LTA, if you have tax, that is when you carry it. But we assume for the sake of argument, this is a special circumstance. So whatever tax you have can be suspended until whatever they are here for is completed. So it has to be taken there. And we are not saying this because we want to obstruct. Every staff who works somewhere on the machines, they have templates. They have pre-existing things that A, are used to help them do their work, or B, be manipulated by somebody else to do something wrong. Additionally, the LTA is an entity with an obligation of confidentiality. It regulates a competitive environment. We have communications here from Lone Star Cell to LTA that Orange is not supposed to know. From Orange to Lone Star Cell, the other is not supposed to know. From SATCOM to LTA that DSP is not. And you find out that for some reason, information becomes that should be confidential, becomes public. It hampers our ability to properly regulate the sector. So the provision that yes, the items can be left in the office is consistent with what could be best practice.
Councillor Dixon, we'll get back to you in a minute. Though you said some of your clients reported to you, wanted to know what it is, but we'll get back to Councillor Phil Tappet Dixon. We hearing whether or not there's some sort of commotion outside. There is the LMP, so they're saying it's a community thing, but just on Wednesday, the Supreme Court of Liberia.
Well, that is right there with we understand up there with people who were suspended by President Joseph Newman Boyka, allegedly refusing to leave the premises of the LTA. The issue of documentation and all of that, where the laptops will be left in the offices. As you know, they talk about some level of investigation still ongoing. And these are things that happen on the brink of the shore.
We pray that everyone exercise the best restraint to make this peaceful. Nobody should be more
hostile,
or boisterous, and let sleeping dull lies.
And yeah, we're getting Judas coming back. Judas, as we wrap it up, and I know you follow and you listen, just unmute yourself. This is not happening. Whether this could also be happening across other areas where this is affecting.
Well, the development is strange, but I think those who were suspended with immediate effect, if I were them, I won't go to the premises of the LTA any longer, no matter how much you have valuable assets at this particular area. What could happen is that you inform the authority, those who are now being left in charge. Obviously, the most senior civil servant at the entity will take over. And then what you can also do, you use the court processes as soon as possible, as fast as possible, to ensure you get access to your belongings in the offices. They could go to the court and tell the court that we have to take our personal effects from this particular entity. And the government, I mean, this is a public facility, so there is nothing in that particular building that is personal, right? If you have documents in the building, because I was listening to Councillor Phil Dixon, I'm not too sure whether he's representing those who were removed through suspension. If that is the case, he was speaking about the issue of some information or trade secrets in the offices of these people, but I'm not too sure trade secrets should be in the offices of these people. There are specific mechanisms in place to secure some of these documents. If they had it in their offices, I mean, perhaps it could be their role, but it will be really, really, really questionable. Because, for instance, in the United States, where President Donald Trump, President Biden, and other former officials, sometimes they can carry a confidential, top secret documents at their homes, and they'll be able to retrieve it. So, if these documents are filled Dixon, was implying in some of the offices of these commissioners, I think the best thing, it is government assets. It's not for them. It's not for them to take home, right? And so what will happen is that let them go through the rule of law because the president is exercising executive or presidential power. Of course, some of us are critical that the timeliness, the timing, the expediency of it in the face of a Supreme Court ruling. But again, I mean, it's presidential power. But it's a problematic situation. We hope that calm will be restored these entities and everyone watching some of the steps and experiences these people are going through. Those who will take over, it may happen to them again after Joe Walker shall have left power, another president, if it would be from opposition who want to demonstrate the same thing Joe Walker is demonstrating. So we hope the rule of law will be respected. If these people still have some of their personal effects in the building, they should be able to gain access to these personal effects. But anything relating to the government must be taken by the government because this is not their private homes, right? That they can get access to their private homes at any time because the Constitution says you can just freeze or seize the assets or conduct search warrant the private homes of individuals unless you get a court warrant or court accent to do it. But this is a government infrastructure, it's a government building. So if you have a government vehicle, as soon as you got your letter of appointment or you saw on the executive mansion website, it is confirmed that you've been suspended. What you do as a respectable citizen,
vehicles.
you just leave. I mean, it can be very sad when it is done arbitrarily. It can be very disgraceful when it is done, arbitrarily. But I mean, this is a country. I mean, this is a system that we have. So for me, I mean, some of these people, they just needed to have left the entity a long time ago. Because any attempt by the president to tell you that he cannot work with you, I'm not sure that you have this sort of a smooth, cooperative, constructive working relationship with the presidency. You just needed to go. Sometimes you have to allow things to go. I mean, you're fighting for the integrity of yourself as an individual. You're also fighting for the integrity of the institution. We don't want presidential power to be abused. You already won a case. So if the president is telling you now, he's suspending you with a cause or an alleged cause, be on suspension until that time is reached. I mean, just turn over the assets of the entity. I'm not too sure the suspension covers their salaries. If so, I mean, they will not receive next month in the salary. If it does not cover, then I mean, you'll be receiving your little package.
Receiving your little package while the government decide.
But I think this situation should not lead to huge police presence. I can see. I think somebody talking to one of the suspended, officials. Perhaps I don't know the person. But the idea there is don't go to that compound again because I mean the issue of presidential power, like we said, we have an imperial presidency, and sometimes the police would like to deny you. And the president said these people are under investigation, has ordered the General Auditing Commission. The president has got some documents with him. And if they want to create a scene at the LTA where they want to take certain documents, then people will obviously say that they want to have.
They had things they want to have.
Yeah.
We're gonna be closely following Julius. We're already out of time, but Liberians listening, that's what happened in there at the grounds of the compounds of the LTA. But on the other hand of that, Liberians and others will be going to Barbados. The island nation of Barbados will host Liberians and others from the diaspora and other areas May 6 to the 13th, 2024. It is called the Sankofa pilgrimage to Barbados, where people who migrated from Barbados, settled in other countries, including Liberia, will be having the opportunity to go back to Barbados. There's a huge connection indeed. Let's bring you this 30-second of the one of those. That's the Prime Minister of Barbados, who announced this recently during their sitting. Next week, we hope to have Ambassador Lorenzo Witherspoon, former ambassador or retired ambassador. He was ambassador to South Africa. He's leading this effort of Liberians to Barbados, the island nation, next month. We will be talking to him on Friday, but let's listen to this excerpt.
Mr. Speaker, we will also be reconnecting with our roots in Liberia. Many people do not know that the first Bajan to be a president in this world was not in Bridgetown, was not in Barbados. It was in Liberia. And we have set up, and I want to thank Senator John King, who has been leading this effort for us with the people out of Nigeria, and we will be reclaiming our Atlantic destiny with a Liberian pilgrimage coming to Barbados in May with over 300 and something people coming.
And I tell you, indeed, that's a big one, Julius. And Liberians, will be encouraged to go to Barbados. On this note, we'd like to wrap it up. Nathan Charles has been here with me. Julius, let's get your final words as we wrap it up on this edition of the program.
Well, the issue of the connection between Liberia and Barbados is a long history. I mean, if you read the book by Patrick Boris, The Liberian Press, Press and Power and Freedom in Liberia. He wrote a book about the press relationship to Barbados. Some of the critical tradition of journalism in Liberia is a result of people who came from Barbados, they settled in Liberia. And so President Arthur Barkley, I think the person who you just showed, saying the first citizen from that particular country came the first citizen of this country that became president came not from this particular nation, did not become president, but the president became president in Liberia.
Of Liberia,
that was in the 1940s. I think he got the letter. No, not 1940, but 1904. Arthur Barkley. And the late Professor Amos Sawyer, for example, he said the best ever president in Liberia was Arthur Barkley. In terms of the policy he introduced to bring Liberians together, not on the basis of tribe or religion, but to integrate the society as a whole in 1904. That was very, very critical. So yes, it's a good occasion to connect between these two nations. We hope that it will be a good historical learning process because people from those countries, they really help to develop our society. In terms of progressing as a nation, building a state within Liberia. So yes, we hope we can be able to follow the rule of law, respect the rule of law. The development at the LTA is very concerning. We hope the president will also be able to exercise presidential power in line with the rule of law.
All right, Julius, thank you for joining us from Monrovia. We hope to have you here anytime soon. And the next time we hope to talk about the All Team PUL. And it's good to have you. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend.
My pleasure.
All right, Julius Kanumba there from Monrovia. Nathan, let's wrap it up with you. Let's hear your parting comments.
When the incident was going on, it reminded me of the days in school where they say, goodbye, do you teach?
Stuff was so cool.
Went to court on Wednesday. Mr. Bogachi on Thursday. He accepted. And Friday
you have to pack your bag
out and go. It's government democracy. It's messy. We hope that those who are fighting for the right will continue to fight for the right in the best way. And we hope that the Joseph Yuma Borka leadership will not be witch hunting people. They will be more civilized and more professional in doing their duty. Liberia is beyond anyone of ego. So we need to ensure that peace is what we need. Do not use your power, your presidential power or position to infiltrate or to tramp upon anyone's right. Democracy is messy, and we are here to bring you all of the happenings at KMTV.
Well, that's how we wrap it up on this edition of Diaspora Talk here. Today is Friday, and it's the start of the weekend. I'd like to wish you all of the best. And like we said, Yan D. Twine Jr., with 59.27% of the votes from Nima County's election on Tuesday, is now the new senator. We'll leave you with this from the National Elections Commission, announcing the winners of the election there in Grand Jide and the Nima counties. Until Monday, when we are back, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful time. KMTV, we are everywhere. That's why we are right here. Bye-bye.
where they have been collated for enhancement. Following two progressive reports, the Commission expresses thanks and appreciation to the people of Nemba County, Electoral District Number 1 in Grangeville County, for their peaceful participation in the 23rd April 2024 by-election process. The NEC extends thanks to the government of Liberia for providing the funds for the conduct of the by-election. The Commission also applauds the Ministry of Justice, Joint Security for obtaining the peace during the by-election process. To the temporary staff, as well as NEC employees and the NEC management teams, we thank you for your diligence in the preparation and execution of your duty during the conduct of the 23rd April poll. To owners of properties used as NEC voting precincts, the Commission remains grateful to you for your patriotism and selfless love for country. The Commission is also applauding the general support of local, regional, and international organizations, including Democracy International, WION, ELSA, ECC, etc., and all national, regional, and international observers who observed the 23rd April 2024 Nemba Senatorial and Grangeville District Number 1 by-elections. The Commission's final commendation goes to political parties and candidates for their peaceful participation in the 23rd April poll. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, on 25 April 2024, the Commission announced the final results of 46 polling places out of 46 polling places, constituting 100% completion of collated results of the representative by-elections in District Number 1 in Grangeville County. The Commission now declares Sokem Senior Jeremiah Dawood, an independent candidate, as the winner of the representative by-election in District Number 1, Grangeville County, having received the highest number of votes, totaling 3,168, constituting 30.74% of valid votes. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, the Commission having also completed a county-wide tally of votes in Nemba with 100% of all polling places reported. The following is the final Nemba County senatorial by-election outcome, which I will now read. 736 polling places of a total of 736 polling places, constituting 100%. Candidates: Groupie Thomas S., Ara MC. Votes obtained 3,685, constituting 3.25%. Koga Samuel Gongwe, PUP. Votes obtained 41,196, constituting 36.37%. Selepa Armstrong Bobek, Lino. Votes obtained 1,250, constituting 1.10%. Ryan Junior Nyan D. UP. Votes obtained 67,138, constituting 59.27%. Total valid votes 113,269, constituting 100%. Total invalid votes 2,166. Total votes 115,435. Those were the results from Nemba County by-elections, totaling 100% completion. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the results of the 23rd April 2024 polls in Nemba County showed that Ryan Junior Nyan D., the senatorial candidate of Unity Party, received the highest number of votes, totaling 67,138, constituting 59.27% of valid votes. The NEC therefore declares Ryan Junior Nyan D. of the Unity Party as the winner of the 23rd April 2024 senatorial by-election in Nemba County.
When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
What is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
in fact, the Unity Party is not cohesive. Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the Diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com.
Diaspora Talk. Don't miss out.